we were like, what can we think of? Josh, blurted out Ace of Spades.
It was literally random.
AOS.
It wasn't even like anything
Were you
really.
all in like agreement with Ace of Spades
Yeah.
when it came
So
to
when
it?
we heard it, we were just like, that's the one. You know what I mean? Like,
It's a marathon, not a sprint. Don't rush anything. And yeah, give it time and you'll succeed.
I think
As
that's
a business, you need to have like these downs as well to get like a W.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the first AOS podcast. I'm joined with the founders, the owners, the CEO, CDO, and COO. Logics, Cities, and Josh Viney.
Hello,
Welcome,
hello.
boys.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Great, mate.
How
I'm
was the
great.
flight, Logics? That's what I want to ask first.
It was a bit stressed, but I was lucky, I would say.
Got
'Cause there
past the
was-
storm, yeah?
Yeah, I heard
perfect.
that. What's it called? They were delaying the flights and also putting them to Manchester
Yeah, and,
as well. So he was so lucky
You got it lucky.
because literally his only flight got to
He was the only flight
Heathrow.
that
Yeah,
got to Heathrow.
basically.
So he
yeah.
got it on time. Lucky.
No, like we were literally like watching the YouTube channel live.
Yeah, that had
Yeah.
like 300k YouTube.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
like 300k views.
Mate, there was like 10 of us sat in cool, and I was just
Yeah.
Screen shared it.
yeah.
All right, I want to ask you guys, all of you, like, individually, what were all of you doing before AOS started, before COVID, before you got into esports? What were you lot mainly doing? I'll start off with you, Josh.
Oh well, before like I got into esports, to be fair, I was like mainly getting in. I was like just doing football. Like I played football for like 9 years, like ever since I was a kid. But yeah, then just like focused on secondary school. I was trying to get my GCSEs, and yeah, and then obviously like I played games on the side, and that's like obviously one reason how I met these two. Yeah, that's kind of how I got into esports.
How was football for you? What did you like?
I was
where did you
alright.
play and shit?
I was alright. I was like, I started off as like a striker.
Yeah.
As I gained a little bit more weight, I dropped I dropped down back into like cam centre mid.
Fair enough.
But yes, I was right. I didn't go like I was just like Sunday league. Like
You still play football now? Or?
nah, I stopped now because too much going on with college and AOS and everything.
Of
So
course. What about you, C?
Yeah, so I've had a lot of different types of ups and downs with sports and, going back and forth. I started with football, growing up constantly going to training with football from 4 or 5 years old. That was my dream. And then getting into that, I got, started to go into fencing and dance and hockey, and then just started competing in all areas, and then ended up with just doing dance, cut everything else out, auditioned for one of the biggest schools in the United Kingdom, got in, did about 7 years there, unfortunately got injured, and then kind of moved into esports as it was another passion of mine, with gaming with these two, moved into that when I came home.
When did you catch that injury? What year was it?
When I had my injury,
Yeah.
so throughout my time dancing, I started getting ill actually first.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate around year 10, so I'd say 15, 16ish.
Oh, no.
14.
Yeah, 14, 15. I got glandular fever, which is like kind of like a tiredness thing. It just attacks the immune system. It just screws you over. And then after that, it kind of hit me in areas with like my feet, which I've always tired, so everything was just shot. So the more exercise I did, the harder I was working for myself, the more injuries I was getting because I wasn't looking after myself. Ended up, kind of breaking all my metatarsals, having stress responses, fractures, left, right, centre, was still ill. Managed to get into the next school, but after that, it was just a down road because all my injuries, past illnesses,
Caught up to you.
it just caught up to me, and that was it, mate. That was it.
What about you, Logics?
No, like mainly like all the way since start of school. I always like was good in school. I always focused on school, and I was playing football. I wasn't the best, but I was like pretty decent, I would say. We had like different teams where I played. I was on like the A team. I played left back. And then I accidentally had an injury as well in my Achilles. I still have it. Like when I walk like loads of distances, like especially in the airport when it's like loads of queue and you have to walk like miles and miles and miles, and it's really sore. Like if I just keep walking, and then that was like 8th grade in Norway, and then not in 9th and 10th grade I got my PC because we had like this thing called confirmation with like the church and everything. I got some money and I bought a PC, played PlayStation before, and I just got into gaming and just wanted to become a competitive player. I played like games like CS, Rust, Dota. I've played some League of Legends as well, and then like throughout secondary school, I played Fortnite as well, not like competitively. And then I was like, first year in college, I'm just gonna go back to it because I thought it looked cool again.
Yeah.
And then
Just
the rest
started.
is history.
Yeah, rest is history.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wait, when did you guys meet? You know.
Do you want to do like me and cities?
Yeah,
Or
you and
both?
Cities first, because I'm assuming you lot
Right.
met and then you met
Yeah,
Logics
yeah.
together.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, of course, mate. You take.
Right. So how me and cities met was actually on Call of Duty. I know that sounds like crazy,
Yeah.
but me and cities were like trick shotting. If anyone knows what that is, it's basically when you go for like creative, different ways to kill like the final person on Call of Duty. And I think it was Black Ops 3, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, around 5 years ago now. So I mean, I was way too young to be playing Call of Duty. To be fair, just I think I was like,
child of age, to be
Yeah.
honest.
yeah. Yeah, but one of our friends at the time called Bailey, who I know in real life, like introduced me to Sissies because they needed like an extra person for their squad. And yeah, we just started playing, hanging out, and as new Call of Duties came out, I remember World War Two. We went back to Black Ops 3, Black Ops 2. Yeah, we started playing, became really close friends. And then in 2017, when Fortnite came out, we just played that casually at the time because there was no competitive scene. And when World Cup got announced, we were like, oh yeah, just play it. We were kind of getting into competitive. I was on console at the time. I was on Xbox.
Yeah, because I got my PC as World Cup started.
Yeah, I got my PC just after World Cup. And we just played. We did awful. Apart from last week where we almost qualified, but obviously we were awful that
I
time.
swear your internet went off that week as well.
Yeah. My internet was awful back
Mate,
then.
that was not worst thing ever.
Yeah,
back
no,
then.
it was actually awful. But we just carried on playing. We just came really close. And became best mates. And then we just threw like Winter Royale when that came out. We just playing that competitively. And yeah, that's kind of how I met.
Yeah.
Just, became really close with cities, literally through games, which is awesome. That's like why we do AOS for that community. And
I mean, like it's kind of the same thing with Logics, right? Like we started playing Fortnite together. Obviously, the tournaments came out, and obviously being competitive in other games, we were like, let's just jump on it. With World Cup and everything. Squads came around. I remember back on the days, you list off your achievements. I know it's not like that anymore. List off a year scrim experience.
Your Wi-Fi brand, everything.
Like everything. I've 10 wins in arena. 6.5k points. Put all that stuff out, and we came across Logix and his duo, and we we're like, screw it, let's get him on.
Yeah.
Right, we started playing Logix. The first time I met him, I was like, this kid is so confident. Like he joined cool, was like, yeah, hello, how are you guys? Like you're
Yeah,
so
I know.
let's get to work. You know what I mean? Like, and we got his duo, and we're talking with you, and he was like, yeah, we need to get rid of your duo. He's not that confident. He's not going on. And then, mate, the rest is history. From there, we just started playing more and more, calls more and more, and it went from there.
it's actually kind of crazy if you think about like how AOS came about.
Yeah.
Like Ace of Spades was literally founded off people just playing video games, which I think is like really cool. Like if I wasn't introduced to cities like 5 years ago, and then we didn't give Logix a chance because we had like 5 times Logix achievements. Now I'm not trying to say anything, but we gave him a chance. We gave him a chance, and no, but it's crazy. We became like really close friends, and I'm sure Cities will tell about his story with Payclan later on in the podcast, but like we've loved like being in teams or doing that back on the Call of Duty community. So when we saw teams doing it with Fortnite, it was kind of something we wanted to jump on and just give it a go. We didn't really know where it was going to go, but we were passionate for it. Like for me, it was the FaZe boys. Like I always used to watch FaZe growing up with Call of Duty, and when they transitioned to Fortnite as well, they've always been a big inspiration. So yeah, that's kind of how we all came about. So it's ridiculous how AOS actually was founded if you think about it.
Yeah.
So who originally came up with the idea to like make the team and hopefully turn it one day into a self-sustainable organization?
I mean, I've always kind of had the idea of doing something. I did something called like Apollo like a year before that, which was awful. It was just like literally it was basically a friend group, and it was trying to do like trick shots on Fortnite. It was absolutely awful. I think I was like year 9, and I was just like Cities I always tease the idea to Cities, but he was like, I don't know.
I mean, when you started Apollo, you were like, like, let's join me, let's do Apollo. Let's make this cool thing, because obviously with my history I was 13, I created my own little trick shotting team, at 13, and I always said to the others like Logix and Josh, it's kind of been in like, this sounds really cringe, it's been in my blood since I was like basically really young. I've always wanted to do it, but never really got around to the opportunity of doing it. And then when I met Logix, obviously with Josh, we had this opportunity, a few calls, we had this opportunity that came to us, and we all had that like hidden passion for it, that was kind of there, but we never really expressed it. We got on with it, and I think we thought of it like, oh, we're gonna create this epic team. Like, we didn't think of it as a business at that point. It was like a few lads will be players. We started as players.
Yeah.
And we were like, we're gonna just kind of join it, just make a team, have a bit of a laugh, and try and see where it goes, right? Because obviously, Josh looking up to FaZe, obviously we grew up with that. How they are now, it's amazing, and I'd love to be like them one day as well. But we kind of just started it off this opportunity. Didn't really care about business, didn't really care about any of that stuff, just as mates. Yeah. And now it's completely 180'd, and it's not a team, it's a business, and we're going to opportunities that we never thought we would. Moving into 2022, and it's crazy. It's actually amazing of like, how much we've learned as people that don't actually know anything. We've had to learn it on the spot, really. And I think that's a real credit to kind of everyone here and people inside AOS as well.
Who came up with the name Ace of Spades originally?
That would be me.
Or
they
is
were
it
all
like-
for names like that. I remember how it happened,
We
right?
had
So
some, like a list.
yeah, so I was like, guys, we have like this idea, but we need to have a name. Like I said, everyone needs to put in 3 names each.
You remember like the different?
What were your names?
I remember the top 3.
Do you remember your names that you put in?
But he didn't put them in. I had to put them in for him.
What did I put in? I put in. What is it, mate? I've got it on the edge of my tongue.
I've
but I
got
can't think of it.
no. The top 3 were
Infrared was one.
Infrared, Saints.
Oh, yeah, Saints.
Saints.
What, Saints before Saints was...
Yeah,
Saints
we
before
are-
Saints was
it
even a thing.
That was going to be We Are Saints. That came second, and then first was Ace of Spades.
We had like, what else do we have? Like, there's one in like Hades.
Hades, Delta Esports.
Delta, that was the one. Yeah, Delta.
Obviously,
Basically, all you do is you go on Google and you go names.
Yeah.
I saw Delta. I was like, I'm writing that down.
Got to do it for Twitter and
but
everything.
yeah, I mean, it was. I don't really know how like coming up with the name. It's kind of just
It was like kind of like we wanted this like AO, like we wanted the what's it kind of like, kind of
The
the three
three-
name
the
three
three, like,
letters
yeah.
for something like for a name. Like what other kind of organizations are there that have that? You see what I mean?
What?
TSM.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
TSM, Team Solomid, right? TSM, right? We were like, what can we think of? Josh, blurted out Ace of Spades.
it was literally random.
AOS.
It wasn't even like
Were
anything
you not
really.
all in
behind
like
it.
agreement with Ace of Spades
Yeah.
when it came
So
to
when
it?
we heard it, we were just like, that's the one. You know
That's
what I
the
mean?
one.
Like that is.
Yeah.
It's clean. It's nice. It means something. Ace as well.
Yeah.
It has a meaning behind it. It's not just a random name.
Trying to be the best,
Yeah,
being the
it's-
ace days of the deck.
And it just kind of clicked. And we kind of all loved it. So we went with it.
What's the best piece of advice you could give to a new org, like with a low budget, low following, getting into the scene right now, of how it is?
Do you want to say that one, C's?
Rogers, what would you give advice?
No, I would just say like, just follow your dreams. Like and like it's with the business, you need to have like these downs as well to get like a W.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like when we started, like I said, we knew nothing. Like we were just kids on the side, really wanted to do
Yeah, we were
something
just
in
young-
the scene. I see a lot of people that like tell you that you need the knowledge, you need this, you need that. If you have the passion and you want to make a change, it's with everything in the world, right? You need to go for it, right? Say with content, say with being a professional player, an owner, anything in the world, even just another job, like don't think to yourself, I don't have that knowledge, I can't go for it, right? Like you go out and you make it, you go out and you get that money, you go out and make it work. That's how it is. That's how we've had to do it.
Yeah.
And if I was looking at, smaller orgs right now, I have a few in my head, but some of them are amazing and they just need to keep going, keep pushing through, don't let anyone say you can't do it because you don't have this or you don't have that. I mean, the amount of times that people have said to us, you're just nobodies. Like,
wasting your time.
Yeah, you're wasting your time. What you're doing.
We had absolutely nothing when we started. Like, literally, it started from zero. We were just young, passionate gamers and no business experience. And we like all these different things that we now know about business. We've never thought 2 years ago when we just like had the idea. But on your point, if I was like to give one piece of advice, it's just don't rush anything.
Oh, it's so
Like, a
important.
lot of people like they're doing okay. Like, why do you have to be the best now? Like, if you're on low budget, then stop trying to compete with the NRGs, the 100 feet. You're not going to do it. Like, you've got to work your way up. And esports is such a new industry where you being in now is an advantage. In 5 years' time, there'll be so many more opportunities to make money. I mean, right now esports is like the revenue's dominated by sponsorships. I think it's like 80% of revenue through sponsorships. And when you're a smaller org, it's harder to get a sponsor because sponsors obviously want that return. So it's just about building your brand up, getting that brand identity, getting a solid community going, creating good content, you know, getting good rosters where you can, but don't just try and sign every player under the sun. Like, we actually made that mistake. Like when we had, when we were at the start, we like had so many players, and at the time we thought it was the best thing ever. Like, oh my god, we got like this insane team. But when we shrunk it down a bit and we started focusing more on division on those players, we saw way better results, and that helped with growth. And yeah, but I think just obviously, long story short, I know it's just a quote, but I always tweet it. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Don't rush anything. And yeah, give it time, and you'll succeed.
Yeah. I think that's also important for like a lot of people within the smaller organizations. If you really see like the passion, right, and you really focus, and you really see that around the whole, organization, then work with it, work with the people there, and do the best you can, because no one can stop you, really. You know what I mean? If you want to do it, do it. That's how I've done it. Like me studying aside, go to every day AOS 12 hours a day. You have to be on it, right? But you got to do it. Simple as, just do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think in the summer we were literally spending like 10 to 12 hours a day, especially in preparation for the boot camp. It was crazy. We were non-stop working all the time.
I mean, like I said, like you learn more, so it's not like you just wake up and like now, we're way more wiser than we've ever been in terms of, with AOS, but and we're still learning every single day, as everyone else is in the industry, but like we were working very, very hard, but we wanted to, really, because we had that passion, we
That's
wanted
the thing.
it.
When you love doing something, it don't even feel like work. When you love it that much, like just kind of you just get on with it, and it's almost subconsciously you just do work, and it's really weird when like I wake up, I check AOS Discord, or I check our management chat straight away. I turn my alarm off, check Discord, then I go have my shower, get changed, go to college. But like you have to have that mindset, and if you don't, then you're only gonna get a certain way before you hit that ceiling.
Yeah.
And esports is such a new industry where you're learning on your feet.
Mm-hmm.
Like we know what we're doing now because we've been in the space a bit longer, but by no means are we experts at all. We've got loads of growing to do. As esports grows as well, we'll grow with it. But yeah, it's tough. Esports is a really tough space to get into. It's very competitive.
I feel like because it's a new industry, and like how did you not manage to persuade your parents that you're going to chase this dream, even if there's no return right now? Because you did say it's more long term, it's a marathon.
Yeah.
How did you persuade your parents that you're going to take your time, you're going to, you're young, you want to take this time, next few years, to make an organization that could be one of the biggest?
I mean, for me, I would just like show my parents what these other teams have achieved. And I mean, I'll go back to FaZe because obviously they're the people I look up to the most, really. They literally just started like just as we did, passionate. They had no business experience. They were just teenagers, trick showing on Call of Duty, and now they've turned it into the most successful esports organization ever, which is crazy. But yeah, I mean, with my parents, I kind of just telling them, look, I'm still in school. I've not like I'm 25 with, I've got a family to provide for. I'm still very young, so there wasn't really a risk yet, and it was just for me like getting experience under my belt, growing something I'm passionate about. I think they were supportive, but they didn't understand it, and they still really don't, to be fair, like as much as some other people do. But because it's really hard to try and explain what it is to someone that's born in a different generation.
New industry,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it.
But yeah, I just kind of said to my dad, like, look, just give me some time with this, and see how it goes. And I actually remember as well, throughout lockdown, he was like, just go get a job or something, just part time, like Tesco's or Aldi, just somewhere you can just get a little bit of money in your pocket, just be a bit independent. And to start with, I didn't, and we just kind of fully focused on AOS at the time, and it was kind of went up from there. But yeah,
I think with me, like I'm so close with my mum, so it's like I can talk about anything.
Yeah.
And like I came up with her with this idea, and she knows that I ran a little team back in the day when I was 13, so she knew I kind of had this thing in me, right? And I kind of, I explained to her, but I think the most important thing is that there's a balance. I'm studying at the same time, a degree, and if I get that done and I pass everything, then I work hard on my business, right? That's how it goes, right?
Yeah.
I slack I don't work my business as hard. It's as simple as that. So I get my studies done, and as soon as my studies are over, that's when it moves into, all right, get going with the job now. Let's start getting some money in, right? But I think as esports is very new, we're getting in very early actually compared to all those other also with FaZe. They're the starters, right? But in the actual industry itself, we are quite early to the party because no one else is really here. With the plans in 10 years time. With the I don't know if you heard, but on the news, I think they were talking about, what was it, the Olympics, and what was the other thing?
The Commonwealth Games.
Commonwealth Games.
They're putting esports into the or alongside the Commonwealth,
which is like a huge step for esports. And if it goes well, you might see it 10 years time alongside the Olympics, or it might be e-Olympics or something like that. So that's a huge end goal, and people will be getting into esports then because they'll see how big the market is. They'll see everything to do with it. So we're in early. We've established ourselves. We're just going to keep pushing, keep going. And I think the most important thing is that everything in your life is just balanced, and you just freely work. I think that's really important.
Yeah. I mean, just before Logix goes on about with his parents, like one thing I forgot to mention actually is with like esports, with it being long term, is I kind of said to my parents, like, just give me a few years, and if it's in 5 years time and we still have we're still like, I'm not full time from what I'm doing with AOS, then maybe it's time to reconsider things. But for me, I've got so much time on my belt, and now everything else I'm doing outside of just AOS, like, I'm a lot more comfortable. My parents are a lot more supportive now. I think especially when we first registered the company, because for the first few months we weren't a registered company because we didn't have the business experience.
Just kind of created it.
But I think it was October 2020 we registered actually on Companies House as as a legal company. That's when my parents kind of go, okay, well, they're getting a bit of business experience here, and that's when they kind of started supporting me a bit more. But yeah.
What about you, Logix?
Personally, for me, it wasn't the hardest part to persuade my mom. She's always been like in the social media business. She's always like wanted to create content as well. Like she used to blog back in the days for like all of Norway. So like every time I want like a tip or like an advice, I always go to her because like obviously with cities, like I'm really close to my mom as well, because I don't live with my father anymore. So like she's been like my go-to person to speak to, like, about business wise, social media, everything, because like she has so much knowledge in the business though.
How did COVID affect your lifestyles before getting? Well, in general, how did COVID affect your lifestyles?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of positives and negatives to what happened with COVID for me. I mean, obviously one positive is, like when we started AOS, it was basically the start of COVID, or almost the start of COVID, April 2020. So we had a lot more free time just to do anything, and because you couldn't really go outside, you couldn't really go on a walk by yourself. But apart from that, you had to be kind of locked away. Yeah. So with us, it was just like, okay, well, let's turn this negative into a positive, and we just fully grinded AOS. Like that was probably, we were grinding so hard.
I think that's the reason why we kind of got ahead. Like we wanted it to work, as we still do even more. But like back then, it was like we need to grind if we want to get in front, or we want to actually make something for ourselves.
We had to like at least lay out a foundation. No one even knew of us. And now we've got our name out there, and it's about trying to take it to the next step. But I mean, we have negatives. I think like with just not my health, but like I think my mental health was a bit down a little bit during COVID. I gained a little bit of weight. I don't know. Just at the time, I know it sounds crazy, but I was just like, just gonna do AOS. I couldn't really do anything else. But I think I kind of lost myself a little bit during COVID. But it's all good. It wasn't like a major thing or anything. Like I'm fully fine now. Just got to try and lose some weight after college and stuff. But apart from that, we're doing pretty good. Yeah, I say COVID was actually like really positive for us as a business.
Yeah.
As people, it kind of sucked because we couldn't really meet as much as we wanted to. Like we had a few IRA opportunities and plans. Like Logix was going to come down from Norway because obviously, guys watching, this is the first time I've actually met Logix as well. Obviously, he lives in Norway. Because of COVID, we just haven't been able to see him. So yeah, we were gonna do loads of things. I mean, Cities lives really close to me, so we were gonna meet loads during COVID, and we just had to kind of cancel plans and just do it virtually. But yeah, I think COVID actually, in some weird way, had a lot of benefits for us at that time.
Yeah, like Josh said, like as a business, it worked because everyone was online, right? Everyone was indoors, everyone was online. But as kind of like for people's mental health spiraled out of control. It was one of the worst times, for people's mental health. And I will say, and I'll stand there and say, like, if I didn't have AOS, like, I don't know what I'd be doing because I didn't really have anything else. I just came back from obviously having an injury with school, and I didn't know what job to get. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what degree I wanted to do. COVID is kind of been around for the last 2-ish years, right?
Yeah.
A huge part of our life, really. And I think if AOS wasn't there, then there's no kind of like rock that kind of solidifies working through it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because like with studying, I think as not being able to go out, start having maintaining a balance as well, make sure you're eating healthily. I think that's what kept me kind of going with AOS. I think that was the most important thing. Going for runs, going out. You couldn't meet friends, but I'm creating an online business with my mates. I see them every day online. It sucks that some opportunities are down the drain, but it is what it is. We move, okay. But I think but as a business, like Josh said, it was great. And that's horrible to say because COVID isn't great.
Yeah,
the
COVID.
lockdown for people to be on got a lot more kind of attention, but for individuals and the world itself, it was terrible. That's what I think.
Oh, yeah, for sure. COVID was awful.
COVID isn't good.
But for
I'm
me
saying,
personally,
I'm saying
it was,
as
increase your efficiency.
Exactly.
The ability to
the reason why we
everyone,
grew so quick is because so many people were online.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone
I
was
feel
on.
like since lockdowns kind of like start to ease off, the esports in general and like Twitter and stuff, I feel like it started to slow down because more people are just, at school, not really online as much as they used to be. I feel like now, even with games, I feel like it's worse than it used to be as well.
Yeah.
Because we've just been online on
Exactly.
games for such a long period of time that Fortnite doesn't feel fun. You go on like any game now, it just doesn't feel the same,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we need a new game or like something really big to come out.
I mean, yeah, that would be awesome because when obviously AOS started, Fortnite was already around and was already established. If there's a new game, who knows? Maybe we jump on it early and
I mean,
something special could happen.
Splitgate did come out, but what even happened to Splitgate?
I feel like the hype for Splitgate just really died down. I feel like for about 2 to 3 week period, it was just at a peak.
Yeah,
Everyone was
'cause
watching it. Big streamers
I
streaming
watched
it.
Mo play it,
Yeah.
and didn't he play in like some red
Some
tournament?
10,000
Yeah.
tournament. He came third. He got 500.
I was like, this is so sick.
Mo
And I
had
was
a lot
like,
of potential.
Splitgate could go somewhere because it was a decent game.
Yeah.
And it was starting to attract
It's got its
viewers,
unique-
eyes, and it's unique. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they got a huge kind of injection of income for competitive and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
think they announced like a kind of roadmap.
Yeah.
But then, where is it?
I haven't heard any hype about it. I think
Yeah.
it's still going, but like there's just not enough hype on it.
Yeah.
It's
It's
I
like
don't
Fall
think
Guys.
enough people
Yeah.
jumped on it
Yeah.
early. I think a game succeeds when a lot of big streamers jump on it early and it builds hype,
Yeah.
and then they carry on playing it. But like maybe a few big streamers did like a paid promo,
Yeah.
played it for a week, and then just kind of quit after. But Mo actually was, just
He was
pretty
really good at it.
he was very good. Like
Yeah.
if Splitgate carried on growing and he focused on that, he could have done really well.
Yeah, really well.
He was watching his streams all the time. He was killing it. So
What game do you lot feel like you want to move into next after Fortnite?
ooh, Logics, do you have any games in mind that you're interested in? I've got a few.
Yeah,
Definitely
no,
Rocket.
I love watching like Rocket League and
Yeah.
Valorant as well because like I come from like CS:GO
Yeah.
because like that's what my mates played. So like when Valorant came out, I was like could be a good shot, but didn't work out. And I feel like either Valorant or Rocket League could.
Yeah, they're
Could
my
be a
two
good
as well.
one.
Yeah.
Rocket League and Valorant.
Yeah, I'll sneak
Good
one in
games.
as well. Apex. I
Mate,
really like
Apex.
Apex.
I actually want to install Apex. Anyone played it?
I played it at the
I played it at
start.
the start, but
Yeah.
I didn't really enjoy it, to be honest.
It's a battle royale, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to get it. It's free.
It's funny as fuck.
So it fits me with having no money. So I was like, I might get a new game because there's literally no game out right now,
Yeah.
right? That anyone enjoys. So I was like, I'm sat here watching movies every night.
I played Apex on Xbox when it first came out. That's before PC. I was actually I was pretty good at the start. It was actually really fun and really refreshing. Everyone was saying I was going to kill Fortnite at the time, and it's still going. Like their competitive scene's actually
Yeah.
doing really well, and it's interesting. But I think for me, with my main games, I'm really interested in Valorant and that competitive scene. I think
Valorant's getting a lot of attention right
I think
now
the reason it is because Riot Games are very good.
with the
Like
competitive scene.
they're like
They listen.
Yeah, I've seen like they had a board meeting with a few of the
Yeah,
top
I saw that
players.
as well. Yeah.
You know, when will Fortnite get to that stage? Because I
Mate,
feel like at some point it might die.
I feel like they're falling behind the curve because they're just not. There's just small things. I don't think like it's very easy fixes, but like
Yeah.
it's very small things that could just quality of life features. And feedback to the community, interacting more. To be fair, they have been better in recent times.
I think they do it at like the very
When they
edge
want
of
to,
someone's
yeah.
tail. You know what I mean? Like someone will tell them multiple times, and they'll do it just as people are getting that annoyed that they're ready to quit.
mean-
They're like, "Oh, we're changing it."
Chapter
Yeah.
3, this FNCS, they literally nerfed Spider-Man
The day before.
like the day before
Yeah,
FNCS.
the 10.
It
Like,
doesn't
it's-
make sense.
I mean, one thing I will say, like everyone says Fortnite's dying, which valid opinion if you think that. But I saw a stat with FNCS actually the first qualifier. I think there was 60,000 people in Europe playing, and in Chapter 2, Season 8 on the last FNCS there was only 30,000 people total. So double people play. Maybe it's a new chapter, maybe it's the new map, people giving it a go.
New chapter,
But
new
everyone's
map,
literally
so-
moaning about the meta, moaning about how bad the game is right now, and there's literally double the people playing.
That's that's the most important thing
Yeah.
to a company. Making sure they get, if they have a lot of people playing the game and getting involved, why are they gonna
You're like what? Like, I think they should change stuff, obviously, but as a business, like they're not really doing it. Like
Well,
they're double their people.
What I
playing
don't
the game.
understand is that, like, if you're willing to change Spider-Man to 10 in competitive and keep it 80 in pubs, why not just adjust other weapons
Yeah.
or take them out just for competitive? Competitive, in my opinion, is meant to be competitive.
in its own genre.
Yeah,
to
it's
be
not
honest.
meant to be jumping, spray RNG, blah, 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 you know what I mean? Like, it's not
Pubs
meant to
you
be
can
that.
have fun.
Yeah,
but I
exactly.
feel like competitive, you get your head down.
And I see
you
where they're
make some
trying to
money,
go with,
and have fun at the
getting
same
having
time.
like an open tourney.
Yeah.
Right, because I think that's really important. They're getting in a lot more people, but like I'll say this to Josh and Logic all the time. When I used to play with them in like competitive tourneys, I used to come out the tournament and be like, "That was the least competitive tournament I've
Yeah.
ever played." I'll play a pubs game of Valorant, and it'll be 20 times more competitive than an actual tournament of Fortnite.
Yeah.
It's annoying, but I see the way they're going. They're obviously amazing at what they do. It's just unfortunate they don't change these small things for the competitive scene. I've seen they could put the SMG fire rate down, but they don't. I understand why. I hate the gun. I'm a mouse keyboard
I
player.
don't think anyone understands.
Yeah,
that, to be
but
honest.
like, you know what I mean. So, and you just kind of got to go with it. But it's like another important thing that Josh and I just bring up a lot is that other esports titles work actually with orgs. They actually skins. Rocket League literally have skins,
Decals.
decals and everything. And I think that's so good to kind of work with esports orgs and titles.
Yeah.
Fortnite, mate. It's been around for years. There's been no communication with any orgs,
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
competitive players.
They made a
anyone.
Discord, but they didn't really
Yeah.
keep up with it.
I mean,
which
I
is
remember
unfortunate, to
actually.
be honest.
I remember back in World Cup. You were not allowed to have your org name in the finals, and obviously that's like the biggest
but-
Fortnite event ever.
But
Like
it's
for
not-
example, like Dubs had to have
Yeah.
just Dubs, not phase Dubs. And I think for an org trying to look at games to get into, I think Fortnite from a viewership point of view, that's one of the best. But from an org trying to actually get into it now, it's just kind of like, is it worth it? Because especially how how the ecosystem is right now, and inflated salaries from other orgs, up in player prices. For an org trying to invest into a solid roster, it can be really difficult. I mean, a lot of orgs get a return from monetizing their social media, but with the state of Fortnite and how they kind of treat, but just like the lack of communication,
Yeah,
the lack
work,
of
yeah.
support with orgs. I mean, I see it with Rocket League, but COD as well. COD have skins for their game. I'm pretty sure Apex actually did it
Yeah.
already. I mean, Epic Games own Rocket League. Why can't they just bring that into Fortnite?
Exactly. I don't understand it.
I think as well.
It's
yeah.
constant. Just what I mean. Like I don't understand what's
Didn't
going
they
on.
inherit, like, didn't they buy Rocket League off thing when they had the org decals already? It was
Yeah,
That's why they've just
Epic.
added guilds, though, right?
Yeah, they just added new ones though.
Just
so they're
they-
still
they
I
adding-
added
think it was
a
already
home
in their
and away.
fundamentals. Like,
Yeah, that's
to
true.
have the org
Oh, was it?
decals, and then Fortnite bought them or Epic bought them.
Yeah.
and
But
now
even
they
if,
carried
you know,
on.
they could go and be like, oh, you know,
I feel like they should expand it though. to
Yeah,
other
exactly.
games.
Yeah, no,
100%.
for sure. I mean, Fortnite. The reason Fortnite's so successful is because it's open play. Anyone can play.
Yeah.
It's a free game.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy any skins. You play for free. You can compete for free.
That and it was the first
yeah.
battle royale to come to
Yeah.
console. Like I saw H1Z1 and other games like that, watching them on YouTube, side
Yeah.
play and stuff. It was so interesting to me. I actually wanted to get a PC4 battle royale.
Yeah,
and then
no,
Fortnite came out, and that was perfect.
Yeah, no.
Thing-
But that's the thing. The reason why Fortnite, you know, is so successful is because it's for open play and it's
Yeah.
free to play. But that also, for us, that's really bad because it's free to play. It means that they're not supporting orgs as much as they could have because that just conflicts with their business model of being it anyone can play. And if they're supporting orgs, it's kind of like you have to be in an org to play, or you have to be in an org to get that skin or something.
Sure.
But yeah.
And it's like in all these different games like CS, League of Legends, Dota, you have to be in a league to play the
Yeah.
game. And I mean the game competitively. But like Josh just mentioned, it's like opened. And what I feel like not like every org, like all the top tier orgs, why they don't have like invested all their money into Fortnite is because like it's an RNG game. Like anything can happen. Like their player might perform poorly, and then they get they don't get like their investment back kind of. And like with a league, you have like a set salary. You get like a huge prize, obviously, because there's only 10 teams. And imagine if in Fortnite 10 teams is gonna compete, it just doesn't work.
I actually saw an article in Rainbow as well, where they were like helping orgs financially, which is really cool. Like it was really eye opening. Like they were, like I think a company sponsored Rainbow, and they were distributing like percentages of, that sponsorship to orgs to help them create rosters. Because if they're helping orgs sign players, that's going to create more hype for the game.
Yeah.
And kind of everyone kind of builds up with it, which is like really cool. Obviously, like you can't do that insanely because that's just like they're just going to lose loads of money. But I think there's something you can definitely do with orgs, and especially with Fortnite. I've always said this. Fortnite has potential. I mean, I think it is one of like the best. It changed gaming. I think no one can argue it changed gaming with all the collaborations and the
Marvel,
events that was
DC.
never seen before,
Yeah.
and very good game. But it has potential to. Like they could make like 5 changes and tomorrow everyone's back on it. Everyone, oh my god, this game again.
Yeah.
Just a few changes.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm so excited for LANs to come back. With Fortnite, especially with the World Cup, that was massive for orgs. Like that's one of the main things for orgs. LANs, getting your players over there, qualifications and qualifying for LANs is so important. And because of COVID, there's been no LANs.
Yeah.
It's just been full online.
They did like a singular DreamHack recently, but that was the
was
prize
just
pool was
mad,
so
I mean,
low.
like,
The event was bad. It didn't bring enough hype. The only thing I saw from it was like Archie's stream, and that was literally nothing.
Shout out to Archie.
Yeah.
He came 8th, didn't he?
Yeah, he done
That
really
was
good.
such a funny
But,
stream
like,
to watch.
when there wasn't even 100 people competing, that's just when you
But,
realize like it's not a serious LAN, you
And
know.
didn't have to use like War Legend or something to go
Yeah,
in the
War
game.
Legends, it was poorly
Like,
done in my opinion.
That ain't a LAN, you know what I mean? Like,
I think what they did with that is they didn't want to do like a $200,000 DreamHack, and then everyone comes, and then they're the next esports company on the block to have some COVID outbreak. I think it was like dipping their toe in the water. They were trying it out again, kind of seeing like, is it safe? Because obviously, I think it was like 80 people competed. That's nothing, right? That's nothing. But imagine that only 80 people came, and there was like 5 COVID outbreaks. Only 5, yeah, but like 5 out of 80. It was quite a lot. Like that shouldn't be happening. So I think I commend them for taking safety serious. Like I don't want LANs if everyone's gonna get COVID and then they can go spread that to, someone who could potentially die from it. So I think LANs will come back this year. I'm really confident. I mean, there's some DreamHacks in Amsterdam, I think in July, and America in I think December or November. So potential for a DreamHack then. I think there's. Oh, that's Twitch rival. Sorry, not DreamHack. But there's there still could be some LANs there as well. I think, but there's loads of opportunities, and I think they'll slowly start, integrating them back into competitive. And when they do that, I think like Zayt, he quit because there was no LANs. He loved LANs. I generally think if LANs get announced, like Zayt's coming back to Fortnite.
Yeah, that's the peak of like hype. I
think LANs are the best part of competitive.
100%. That's what everyone wants to watch. That's why people grind at the end of the day. Like I saw so many people playing Fortnite around World Cup phase because they wanted to get to the even if it wasn't a realistic thing for you, that you just wanted to try, give it your best.
That's why
the
we
prize
played.
pools were crazy as well.
Yeah.
100%.
line opens.
You know,
something else to like see their face. Like if you
Yeah.
see the face on the
Yeah.
stage, it's so much hype. The crowd is going wild. Like it's just something else when like obviously everyone is like cheering and shouting at their home, but no one is seeing that. Like and if you have like this huge stage and this like insane crowd, it's
Yeah.
just such more hype.
yeah,
No,
it's,
for sure.
it's one thing watching a replay, right? 5 minutes delay. There's one thing watching it
In person.
in person. Your player's in front of you,
Yeah.
and he wins that game, and the crowd goes crazy. Like that is one thing. That's another thing, and that thing's been around for 2-3 years now.
Yeah.
And you know, I think we're ready for LANs. You know, LANs are the best part.
I
of it.
think that's what esports all about. Like
Yeah.
seeing everyone in person. It's like that thing. Like when something's digital, it can be obviously it's not tangible. You can't really you don't really. It can be quite blurry what's going on if you don't understand it. But when it's in person, like that's a real event. Like legit, you're there in person. Like you're real. Like it's a real thing at that point. And like that for me, that's what esports all about. Like I want to meet people in the community, other teams, like collaborating with other teams in person. Like obviously this trip to London is great as well, meeting some people here for the first time. But yeah, I'll do anything for a World Cup. I'm definitely gonna if there's a World Cup, even if AOS didn't qualify, I'm going to that World Cup just to be a part of that experience and to see that in person. I think that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I think like as you mentioned, like it's more than just kind of like LANs as well. Like we're doing this now. COVID has calmed down, and we can. It's been 2 years, and we've wanted to do so many opportunities IRL. There were so many things, and we just didn't do it because it either fell through because of COVID or
something like
yeah,
that.
something like
How
that.
long do you think we'll be in this phase of constantly in fear there might be a new lockdown or that a COVID outbreak? How long do you think we'll be at this stage we're at right now? We've been in for the last 2 years, I'd say.
I feel like, especially in Norway where we live, everyone is just sick and tired of it, and I think personally Norway is gonna do the same thing as what Denmark did. They just like fully they just didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, just cut it off.
Yeah, cut it off, and then I personally I hope that, and I hope the UK does it as well, because like next
Makes everything easier.
Yeah, this actually this September hopefully I made my application for a university here in
UK.
England, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be accepted, but it's gonna be
That'd be awesome
Enjoy.
if you get in. That'd be, especially you being in the UK. Like, that'd be just amazing.
so many
I
opportunities.
mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I think people need to realise. I think people do now. Like, COVID's not going anywhere. COVID's always going to be here, and it's just learning to live with it and to deal with it. And I think now we've had quite a while with COVID. Obviously everything being eased a bit more. You can do normal things now, and I think we shouldn't fear. Especially, I mean, I think we're doing something wrong. Like, not to get political on a podcast, but we're doing something wrong if we have like 3 or 4 vaccines and it's still like there's still fear of a lockdown.
Multiple boosters as well, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think. I just think it's. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Maybe.
I understand lockdowns, but I'm knackered of them.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I just want
to get past it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
On to the
Easy,
next
like-
stage. Josh, going back to like education and stuff, you if I'm not mistaken, the first class that did esports in the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Could you like sell esports? Like, what is it about? How does it help you with AOS?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think. Yeah, so obviously, yeah, I was the first year group of in college to take the first ever esports BTEC. It's done wonders for me, to be honest. You learn a lot of good skills, and they're transferable. It's not just you're sitting inside all the time and you're sat there playing games for 2 hours each lesson, and then you go home. You learn a lot of fundamentals. I mean, right now my unit's about physical and mental health in esports. So I'm pretty sure, like, when I go back, there's like some stuff we got to do for our coursework with yoga and stretching and fitness, and it's crazy, man. Like, it's not just playing games. And then we also had something about esports enterprises and businesses, and that helped with AOS. And it's really cool because I learn a lot from that, and also what I do at AOS and with esports myself, I can also bring to them, which is just awesome. And I think for connections wise as well, that's the main thing it's helped me with networking and connecting. People are super interested. Like, how is that a qualification? They haven't wrapped their head around it yet, and it's just interesting. I think people want to, like, what do you actually do? Because I think a lot of people might think I'm just sat there playing a game, and I'm not. I mean, there are times when you have to, when you go on the PCs or something, but
There are times where we play a 2-hour Valorant session.
Oh yeah, that was.
Classic.
Let's not talk about it.
Well, you've been playing Valorant in school and stuff.
But he has sent me a Snapchat of him playing. He's 1v1 me on Fortnite from school.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Like, he had some like controller thing he learned.
Yeah, no,
from
so, like,
school on his FIFA
No, but that's
stuff.
sometimes like I don't know exactly like what it is, but in our coursework you have to like document your gameplay and
Oh, we did. Yeah, you did that like right hand peek thing, remember?
yeah. My last unit I did like a whole tutorial on everything. I had to do skills, strategies, everything. It's actually really interesting and I love doing it as well. So that really helps.
Fair enough. I want to ask you guys, when do you think we'll be seeing like another in real life event? You know, the first boot camp that happened with Nebs was a real big success, the All-Star boot camp. I want to ask when would we see another one? And Logic, would you be coming? As you didn't come to the first one.
Nah, for sure. If we like all the next meetups, boot camps we're gonna do, I'm for sure gonna be there.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Just have to book the flights a bit.
Yeah, a bit
earlier.
Yeah.
I mean,
and not in the worst weekend possible with the storm.
Yeah,
Storm
no,
Unions.
it's actually crazy. Like the time we book out to start the podcast off, Storm your niece comes in and it almost messes
Wipes
everything up.
everyone,
Whoever names these storms, bloody hell.
But yeah, I mean, with a boot camp, I'd like to do one towards like Q3, Q4, like towards the end of this year. But like, it all comes down to budget, and what we have to prioritize certain things in the business. So we'll just kind of see. I mean, our goal as a business for the next few months is to try and see how can we go to that next step and be able to sustainably do these events more often. Especially like the boot camp, for example, because there's loads of IRL content opportunities we can do with it. I'd like to do one this year, but we'll just have to kind of see how everything goes.
I mean, like obviously I have daily calls with Ross, and we every single day we talk about how we can better the business for this year, and what that looks like, right? And I know next week we have so many pieces of work that we're going to be doing, but I do think that we want to do one this year 100%, and I would do one, if I'm honest with you, every quarter of the year if I could,
100%.
because I think a huge inspiration with that is like BL, right? Like the way they do their boot camps, is perfect. They document it perfect.
make
The
great
content's
content.
amazing, and the people there top it off.
Perform at the best.
Exactly. And I think it'd be amazing to get down content, players, everyone, and just do different types of and different places. Obviously, that all comes with budget and everything like that. And moving, as Josh said, moving into this year, our main focus is getting to that stage. And you obviously would have seen, and the people watching this would have seen, that AOS has been slightly quiet for the last month or two. We've been really focusing behind the scenes, not a lot going on.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we're just not there. That means we're working harder than ever to get to that next stage, because we know what people want to see. We know what we want to put out there. We need to get to that stage, and that's where we're working to now.
Yeah, like we know, like especially from a YouTube front, I think everyone's in agreement that the past like 2-3 months, the content's kind of been mediocre. It hasn't been in the final product, and that's something we're really working on. And it's all a learning curve, and so we're kind of learning as we go on with everything we do. But our goal, we want to be smashing out. But when we post a video, it needs to be like top tier, and that's why we didn't just like rush into a podcast and do it on Discord. Like we really wanted to try and make it IRL, and that's what we've done here.
Yeah.
So
I feel like also with the boot camp and everything, like obviously you can have like a content boot camp, but if you want to do a player boot camp, like obviously if we have a player qualifying for World Cup, if it's like late in the summer or maybe next year, obviously we're gonna try our best to try and host a boot camp. But it's like they said, it comes down to budget and everything.
Yeah.
So if there was like another DreamHack, let's say, but I'd say 10 times the budget of the one that last happened, would we be seeing like any AOS competitive players go down there with AOS management, of course?
I mean, I think it really
We'd have
depends
to
when
see,
it is.
really.
Yeah, I mean,
We'd
it
have to
depends
see.
when it is. We don't know if it's going to be like obviously DreamHack do a bunch of different things, always throwing new surprises out. So they could do like online qualifiers.
Yeah.
I reckon like what they will do actually is an online qualifier, and then they'll do the finals in LAN, because that for COVID as well it makes sense, because you're not having thousands of people LAN, you're having 100 maybe 200 people at LAN then. Personally, like I'd love to get some AOS guys down there. I know next DreamHack I'm going. Like, not as a player, just to go and spectate, network, connect, watch an event.
What about with TwitchCon? Will you be going down? Or?
If I can get my hands on some tickets, it's in July, right?
I believe so. The one
In Amsterdam,
right?
yeah. I want to go if we, try and get all the AOS boys down, some other guys down. We're friends with in the com for sure. I mean, that's gonna be a great opportunity to meet people and speak with new
Like
companies.
gold mine, really, isn't it?
Yeah, just reach out. I mean, there's been this lockdown, COVID for so long, and this is the first real event. Obviously, you had the DreamHack Sweden, but TwitchCon's huge. That's a big event, especially for gaming. So had that coming back, I think everyone's eager to go. If I can get my hands on a ticket, I'll definitely be going because I'll be out of college then. So.
What about for you, Cities and Logics? Will you lot be or?
I'd definitely love to go.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see.
Just depends on your university, I'm guessing.
Yeah, finances.
For me, actually, I think we're going because my mom has like some private stuff over there, and obviously with like it's in Amsterdam, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, Amsterdam.
I have like family in the Netherlands, so I can like visit them and everything, and like do two things in one. Then and like just wanna do something. You know what I'm saying? Like
if everyone's going, then I've kind of got to go. Well,
yeah,
I've got to go.
We'll get cities down somehow. Don't worry.
somehow.
We'll figure out a way.
What are your like main goals for 2022 this year? What do you lot want to achieve? Because last year, I believe follower goals and everything, you smashed it. When I first joined AOS, you lot were around like 3K Twitter followers. Like the YouTube content was mainly highlights, and it was really slow. But now we're starting to like expand. We're here doing a podcast in real life.
Yeah,
we're trying to take it to the next level. But what would you lot say are your main goals for 2022?
I think it's just being like it's a huge word though, but like consistent. Like
that was generally the word I was gonna say. Yeah.
I think in all departments as well, not just like at one point you're consistent there. You're like, oh, I need to go be consistent over here now. It's in every way, content, development, management, designers, creative, everything needs to be consistent with everything that we do.
It's hard though.
It is difficult. As we've learned, but like Josh said, we're learning on the way. But we have got a lot more knowledge than we did 6 months ago. And now we're moving in the correct direction, hence why we had a bit of a break over the last month.
Yeah.
That's why we're here now. We want to make things happen. I think content is a key, in the esports industry, and it needs to be done correctly.
Yeah.
And, we've gone on and off with different types of content. We've had a little look around. We've listened, which is the most important thing. I think listening to people around you from outside and inside AOS is the most important thing. And it's just being able to take the shit, basically. If someone comes to you and goes, that's awful, you need to go, you hold your hands up and go, fair play, that's all, we'll sort it out, we'll work on it. And I think, obviously getting in who we have right now in the team, we're really working towards sorting out every section.
I think everyone, especially in this industry, people get really, I don't say emotional, but like if you critique something, people take it personally. And I think maybe I used to do that back in the day, like with someone said, "Oh, AOS is awful." I'm like who's this person? But now, and they go, "Oh, that YouTube video just was awful." Now I'm like, look at it and go, "Okay, well, then I actually go and like critique it properly and go, yeah, we could have worked on that." And turning that into constructive criticism is something that, personally for me, and obviously we'll take that into AOS as well, is so important. But yeah, for goals, we've changed our business plan over the past 6 months. Like, we're really focusing on player development, and that's not just for competitive players, that's for content creators, that's even for staff. I want someone to, throughout their journey of AOS, whether they're in AOS for 3 months, 6 months, 3 years, doesn't really matter. I want them to be able to leave and be like, I grew as a person. I bettered myself with my brand, or I learned something. Because we've got a great story to tell, and we know what we're doing, with myself being in the educational side of esports as well. It's a great opportunity to to pass our knowledge on to other people who are interested, and that's like taking on managers with less experience and then growing them into something crazy. That's something we're looking to do in the next just this year. Player development is something that we're really nailing down on. We think there's we got a big opportunity there. And we've done it before with loads of other players. Nebs, Bubak, Trashy, Falix, Coop. A lot of these players have done really well at AOS. So we want to kind of
credit to them.
Yeah, and
our,
credit to them.
and
Yeah,
our
no,
department team as well, and
Yeah.
our development team as well. You know, Vacu's works his absolute arse off. I can't credit the guy enough.
yeah.
you know.
Vacu's is a diamond in the rough. People don't give him enough credit. People don't know of him as much. Like when people look at AOS from an outside perspective, but Vacu's honestly has changed AOS for the better. When he came in, I remember when he first came in, I was like, oh, let's kind of see how he gets on. And he started working with all the players, but I remember in Pacific Nebs with Cisse and Milo back in. This is like season 5. This is Sand season.
That was our first grands. I think,
that was our first grands, and Vacu's came in first season.
We even won a cash cup.
Yeah.
once.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
With Chashi. Yeah.
Yeah, that was in
crazy.
season 7. Yeah, but Vacu's just killed it, and with player development, that's kind of working with his philosophies and what he's doing, and everything. I'm doing for the development team as CDO, and everyone kind of putting our heads together and creating something awesome with player development. I don't want to give too much away on the podcast, but there's a lot in store for the player development side. It's something we're really working.
Just find those individuals that like you can go and be like, you have the same vision as us. Now work at it. Right, you do the work, and it will go correct, because these individuals that we have right now, Vacu's is a diamond. Like, he has that same vision as us since day one, and he's made successes out of it. And with some more people that we have in and we're getting in, they have that same vision, but it's taken time to find those correct people. And I think having the people that have that vision, the same vision as especially us that have created it, and when we want AOS to go, that's when you'll see heights just being dominated, because we've had Vacu's as a solo kind of over the last year, and he's been doing amazing. But when you add people to that, and you get his knowledge and you give it to others, it's gonna explode it even better.
Yeah, like we got a nutritionist in as well recently. We're adding to our development team, and this year's going to be amazing. Last thing I will actually say on the player development side before we move on is I think a lot of orgs get carried away with trying to sign the best players now, and they might throw their budget with us. Yeah. I've always said I don't want to go and sign Tayson. I want to make the next Tayson. Yeah. Obviously, everyone would love to go. You could be stupid and have money and be successful in esports, which is kind of one flaw of the space at the moment, because it's very heavily reliant on your budget. But I think there's something really special about getting someone in who has nothing, and and then with our help, obviously their hard work, but with our help, we can help them have a full-time job in esports, or they can be one of the best players in the world because of what we can do for them. So anyone can go sign Tayson, but there's something really special, and it shows with the org and their infrastructure. If you can develop a player, not just in game, outside the game as well, you're really onto something special there. And I think we're almost there, and it's just kind of finishing off those plans. Next 6 months is going to go crazy for our development.
Yeah. Josh, I want to kind of ask you, because you're now in Guild as well as AOS, how do you balance out being in two orgs? One is obviously tier 1, Guild, huge investment, everything. As you were speaking about, having a different budget, you can be stupid, but I'm not saying that's necessarily Guild, but they have a big budget.
Yeah.
How do you balance being in Guild and owner of AOS?
I mean, time management is basically you have to have good time management. That's it. I'm still in college, so it's even harder than just trying to be in run AOS and work for Guild. Right now I'm with Guild's Academy. I know I'm the talent scout. I'm working a few hours here and there. It's not crazy amounts of work. Obviously, they've been great with me with college. They know I'm still it's my last year of college right now, so trying to get my A levels, my qualifications. They've been really supportive of that. And yeah, but going back to your question, balancing it. I mean, it's just working at the right times with esports. The way esports kind of is very similar. Although Guild are tier 1, it's not like I'm doing two different, very different jobs in the sense that, I'd have to. It's really hard to articulate into words, really. But if you're working at Tesco's and AOS, it's two different things. Right now, I work remote. I don't have to go and travel to Tesco's, and that takes up more time traveling and commuting.
It's in the same industry that you love, really.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I can literally flick my mouse on my other monitor, and do my Guild tasks and do AOS on my other monitor. It's really not that time consuming right now. Obviously, after college, I don't know how that's going to look for me in terms of workload. But as I said, they've been really supportive of me because they understand, like, I'm still young, get my qualifications, and then kind of go from there. So yeah, I mean, hasn't been too hard balancing it right now.
What do you plan on to do? What do you plan on doing after college? Like, are you gonna go to university, or are you gonna stay at home and focus on like Guild and AOS mainly?
Yeah, so I'm not going to university. I think university's good, but I think in this day and age, with how technology is, how the world's going, moving, everything's going digital. Everything's accessible from your phone now. So I don't think university's as necessary as it once was. I still think it could be worth going, but for me, I just don't think it's for me. And my plan is to full-time commit esports with AOS and obviously, with Guild as well. So yeah, and kind of see how it goes. But I'm not going to university. It's kind of work really hard in the summer and yeah, just kind of work on my career.
Yeah. Where do you guys see AOS within the next 5 years?
Ooh, hard question.
Up there. Obviously anything can happen. It can go quick, can go slow. Obviously, we say we'll go at our pace, right? It's really important that, in the next 2 weeks, I could secure something insane and take us straight to the next level. In the next year, I could do that. It just depends on how quick we do it, when we do it, the right people we work with, the opportunities we get, and, where we go. But I'd love to see, AOS competing at the highest level in a lot of different titles. League, for example, we don't mention that. Rocket League and Valorant is so good, but League as well, it's also an amazing game to get into. Just having this kind of overall brand, that everyone can look up to, that's worldwide known, and be like, that is AOS. You know what I mean? And we've created that from nothing. I think that's the most important thing. Having this kind of worldwide known brand, I think, would be amazing, and competing against the top tier orcs. And obviously along the way you'd love to get a house, all the stuff that people dream about, getting a content house,
having an office,
having offices for us, like,
love it.
All that stuff would be amazing, and having full-time work as well would be great. I say full-time, I do it now, but you know what I mean by that. But yeah, just at the top would be just amazing.
Yeah, you need to. I like this vision of mine as well. Like, you need to see yourself there at the top to achieve it.
Yeah,
like, if you always see
100%,
yourself at the, you tell yourself you're bad, you can't do this, it's not gonna happen. Like, you need to see yourself on the throne, and it's gonna happen one day.
Yeah, don't speak words into actions. Like, don't do that. Don't say I won't do this, because then you won't. If you say I will do this, you will. You know what I mean? Yesterday, proof, right? Yesterday I said Logics will arrive here. He arrived here. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, hopefully he arrives.
Yeah. That storm, man, it had me different levels of anxiety, bro, with that storm and Lawrence was playing.
Did you see the plane that like half landed and then it
Yeah.
just went back up straight
it
away?
bounced and it went boom. It was like, oh, I can't do
Yeah,
this,
no,
mate.
If
I
was
sent
on
it
that
in
plane,
the-
I'd be
I sent it in the
shaking,
WhatsApp group. It was like, it literally was
was
like,
like,
oh my, it was like, it was thinking about it. It was thinking about it.
man. And it just went up. Well, I don't even know what happened after that.
I mean, with AOS, I really want to, with everything we're doing with the development side, and I really see us doing. I want to work with schools and colleges with AOS as well.
Yeah, education.
I mean, me being one of the first people on the esports course, I think there's a really big opportunity there. I mean, I'd love to be able to go and speak to people that had the same passion as we did as when we first started, but have no idea what they're really doing, but just want to get into it. I'd love to go, speak to colleges, run courses in different schools, workshops, really try and take AOS and esports mainstream. Having, I mean, the end goal really is having like, not an office, like a boot camp, but we own the place,
The
and
AOS
it's like we
world.
get like academy people coming round, and like that would take a lot of time and work, but I'd love to do something with the academy. I mean, socials, I don't know, it's way too hard. I just want to be. I think people overthink like goals way too much. Like, I just want to be healthy, happy, and I want to improve AOS and just
Sustainable.
yeah. I think your point, AOS being self-sustainable, where it can live off everything coming back to the organisation is so key. Where all of us are working, full time. Like, obviously we work really hard, but as in it's our full time job. Getting full time staff on board as well. that like all this in real life stuff, I love. I just love being able to work with people in real life rather than just over a screen, and bringing an idea to real life, putting pen to paper, and yeah, I just so many opportunities. I could speak for ages on all our goals.
Yeah, see, you were earlier speaking about like bringing the right person in to execute the vision. What would you say is the right person? Like, what are you looking for a future member?
That's actually crazy that you brought it up because I was just thinking about that. I'm gonna throw on a bus, but an example of this would be I was actually talking to my IRLs yesterday about kind of, if you got 10 million, would you go and then hire people in these positions full-time salaries, or would you stay with the people you have now? And I said, skills don't make a person does, right?
Yeah.
Your drive, where you want to go, how much you want to work, and the vision aligns with ours. And I think it's important. We didn't have our management was up and down. We were doing a lot of the work, and we wanted to find the right people. And at the right time, we did. And for example, I'm throwing him under the bus, but Ross is someone I look for and I found. He has the same vision. He's the ideal person that I know can run the business
100%
with us. I trust him in everything that he does. And, moving on to my point with, if I had 10 million, would I go and sag him off and then go sign someone with a business degree and all this stuff? No, I wouldn't. I'd keep him on. I'd pay him a full-time salary because he has that drive. He has that want, and he knows us, and he works well with us. And I think that's the most important thing.
I've always said the people that have helped us build out these foundations, if it gets to a point where we can get into some serious funding in the next few years, like I want to reward those people. Like they built it up. Like it's not like we do a loads of work as the owners, but the management, the content creators, the players, the staff, everyone, coaches, they've
wouldn't
all
be
worked
here without them.
Everyone, even if they've been here for a few months, even that small bit they put in has helped us, and I want to be able to reward those people. It's like obviously you'd make changes where needed, and but like I'd want to keep as many people as possible and reward those people.
Just because you get some money, don't mean you sag them off, because they've worked hard for you for what they've done and what are where we are right now.
100%.
And I believe in giving chances and working with that individual. I think it's so important.
Loyalty as well.
We've looked at so many different people in so many different areas, and some people just don't fit because they don't have that same vision. And if they do, they'll come in and then they'll realise, and they'll go. That's why a lot of people join a business, realise, and then leave a business. But I feel like where we're going now, we found a lot of the right people for the right projects and the right departments. And like Josh said, it's loyalty. They're loyal to us. They work very hard for us. I'll do everything I can in every department to give back as soon as I can.
Sure.
All these people promising, like so many different people. Oh, you're worth this. You're worth that. Everyone's worth the world, mate. What I mean? Like everyone, if you work hard, you're worth it. Simple as, right? All these people, I promise you, I'll give you this, I'll give you that. Promises mean nothing, right? You show that you work hard, you deserve it. You deserve this position, you deserve where you stand. It's as simple as that. And that's what I stand for. I think it's really important. All this like promises stuff, it's loyalty that matters, not promises. I think when you understand that loyalty, then it's unbreakable and you can make it work. I think that's most important.
Yeah. All right, well, to wrap up the podcast, it's been a great podcast so far. I really enjoyed having you guys on. Of course, you lot are the owners. But what
contractually has to say that?
One word each to describe AOS in 2021. We'll start with you, Logics.
My word would probably be a learning curve, like just the word learning curve, because like we had so many.
We'll give it 2 words.
Yeah, you can have it. He's Norwegian.
There's like the Love Island clips at the start that like describe in 3 words, and they say like the whole paragraph.
It's not.
From now on, it's one word.
For you, it's one word.
Okay. No, but like because we have had so many ups and downs, and like learned throughout the whole year, and obviously. We had like this experience in the first 2020. We've learned from that, and we took that into the next year, and then we're just gonna take like every piece of advice and everything we learned from the last 2 years and just
100%.
move on
into 2022 as well. 100%. I think with me, it's that 100% agree with Logics. 100%. but I'm gonna use, and this is really boring, all right, but I'm gonna explain. It's just crazy, you know, because like we went from nothing to something, and it's just like that's crazy, you know, like. I was nobody in the com, and I still kind of am. You know, I'm kind of I'm not really in.
You're a low-key guy.
I'm a low-key guy.
Caesar's lurking in the shadows. I'm gonna be honest.
I'd rather let him tweet everything. And I just watch everything.
I feel like
you know what I
even
mean?
with Logic's, like your mum is more on Twitter than you.
Yeah.
I see you just retweet stuff. You need to start tweeting.
Like, I support the boys. We support the boys, but like, you know, I do my one tweet a month, you know, or like you
Good
know,
morning, guys.
Yeah,
Got
yeah,
got a
yeah.
stream
Oh
today.
yeah, or got a stream. Yeah, I was streaming at one point, or like you know, I go gym. I'm at gym. You know, something like this. You know, obviously you'd love to post about it, but like, you know, just crazy. You know, it's absolutely mad that you know from where we met and who we actually are, and you know people like yourself and Ross and Razza and you know Jake and all these other people that we've met in the com. Mo, I can name off hundreds. There's been hundreds of people in AOS.
If it impacted us.
Yeah, they've impacted us in so many different
with
ways.
you saying crazy, like if you generally think about it, right? We started as like nobodies, right? Young and passionate. 2021, I think our players earned over £100,000 competitively.
And we did
Crazy. Became absolutely crazy. Like that is ridiculous.
I don't think people understand that. Like, actually think about that for a second. You know, like we don't have millions to like pump into players and lose it. You know, like some other orgs they might be like, oh, you want $1,000, 0%. You know, just buy a player. You know what I mean? And they have 45 players. You know, I think seeing what some of our players have done at where we were and who we are is actually a credit to you know. And obviously, I never toot my own horn or anything because you know I'd like to support
Humble
others.
guy.
But like, it's actually nice to have a reflection on yourself and be like, you know, you did well. Clap yourself. You know what I mean? Like, and we're only gonna get better. Simple as.
Yeah. I mean, I think to end the podcast off, my word would be momentum. I think 2021, we built up so much momentum, and it's about carrying all that over to this year, and not just this year, for the future as well. But we did so much stuff, a lot of hype around our name in 2021. You know, just let's continue that for next year, or for this year and next year.
100%. All right, well, guys, that was the first podcast, the AOS podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode with Logix, Cities, and Josh Viney. And the next episode, we will be seeing the big man Razza, the lovely, beautiful man himself. Hope you guys enjoyed this and take care.